So Moshe, this is a picture during the Shoah.
Yeah. Judah.
And these are Israeli girls. It must give you a lot of, it's incredible. And it's not that long ago. We're talking about only not more than 80 years ago. It's not a long time.
I have a talent to I'm a little art bandit. Yeah. Shall I show you more?
Please.
These are the pictures of Zikaron Basalon. Make me a sign.
Okay.
This is my mother, Imi Zosha Zisel Kuczynski. The story I told you. I did not. Okay. And this is Danzig before the war. My father, Shaya Feldheim, נולד ב-1902.
In 1902.
This is me. This is Danzig between the German. This is Prussia, you see?
Yeah.
And this is the German Empire. And this is the situation, how it was before the war. Danzig is between them, you see?
Yeah.
And the first city which was occupied by the Germans was Danzig. Here is Lithuania, you see?
Yeah.
Memel, Danzig port. The bridges were opened to pass the ships. And I'll show you later the place which I remember and I told you. Yeah, this is a very famous place, a crane from the Middle Ages in Danzig, and this is the end of Wisla, Motlau. Not far from here is the Baltic Sea. Here approximately was the window which I opened to see.
And that was your first memory.
Huh?
That was your first memory.
Yeah. I visited Danzig in 2008. Danzig.
Was it difficult to return?
Beautiful.
Moshe, when you went, was it difficult to go back?
What?
Did you find it difficult to go back? Was it hard for you to go back to Danzig?
I can't understand.
Was it difficult emotionally? Was it difficult emotionally to go back to Danzig?
I hired a Polish driver, and we visited all those places. I was younger then. It was 15 years ago.
Very beautiful. Wow.
This is my father. The only picture which I own. If not this picture, I didn't even realize how he looked like.
And your mother kept the picture?
My mother saved this picture as well. The only picture, you could see that this is a passport
yeah.
picture with the white eagle, which is the sign of the Polish government. Verfluchte Jude, Yehudon Mekulam.
Cursed Jew.
אמא, אני לא רוצה להיות יהודי. Mommy, I don't want to be a Jew. I didn't know what a Jew means. So she said to me, אתה צריך להיות גאה שיהודי אתה. You have to be proud that you are a Jew indeed. This is a big synagogue, a reformist synagogue of Danzig, a beautiful big building, and the Nazis, this is a sign of Jewish soldiers which served in the First World War and were killed, and this
it's a memorial.
This memorial was standing inside the synagogue, but it didn't help. It's now in New York, this sign, and more relics which the Jews of Danzig sent to New York because they already sensed the danger. And this is a synagogue, you can see. And hier, komm lieber Mai und macht von Juden uns jetzt frei. אני אגיד את זה בעברית. בונה חודש מאי ותגיד ליהודים ביי ביי.
Wow, come the month of May and say to the Jews goodbye. And here it says die Synagogue.
Die Synagogue wird aufgebrochen, which means this synagogue will be destroyed. And indeed they held their word. See how they started to destroy? And you can see here the signs that I showed you before.
Yeah.
Now, have a look.
Gee.
You see? And this is the end of the... But they saved all those stones. They didn't dispose of it. They employed it for themselves, the Nazis. You can see.
Yeah, you can see them taking the stones.
This was the end of the beautiful synagogue. And I visited that place in 2008, and this is how the Migrash, no?
It's a ground. It's just a field.
The ground looks like now. It looked then. I discovered this place by myself. I was looking where the synagogue stood and managed to find it. And on the left was a building, and besides was standing a Polish woman, and I asked her, where stood the Jewish synagogue? And she said to me in Polish, tu, which means here. And this is how I managed to find that place. See how it looks now. And אני חפרתי עם העקב שלי וגיליתי חלק מרעף שכיסה את הגג של הבית כנסת. יש לי את זה. אני הבאתי את זה איתי. יש לי את זה. אם אתה תבוא הלאה, אני אראה לך. This is my uncle Jacob. He was a revisionist. You see, this was approximately, it was 1937 in Danzig. Kenes Peilim, the activists of Beitar. You can see here the menorah, of course, and you can see here the picture of Jabotinsky. Yeah, and he was an activist. This is how he managed to send his boys to Israel.
It saved their lives.
Because he was an revisionist activist. Instead here. Stutthof. Probably the Jews were murdered there.
It's such a difficult picture.
When the Germans were retreating, they tried to cancel all those camps, but here they didn't manage because the Nazis were in a hurry, in a big hurry, and they didn't manage to destroy. And how it was, this is how it was discovered by American soldiers, Russian soldiers, because Stutthof was occupied by the Red Army. Nevertheless, this is Stuttgart extermination camp. You can see Danzig here.
In 1939.
Yeah. This is the city hall, which we saw before. And this is a very interesting picture because this is der Stürmer. The Stürmer was a Nazi journal, anti-Semite journal, and this is how they pictured a Jew. You can see, and a German man standing before and reading all those propaganda. But the owner of the journal was captured after the war. He was a stupid man. It appears in the internet.
Yes.
I'm very talented to seek
The information, all the documentation and all the information.
אני מוכשר לחפור בשורשים. אני עושה את זה טוב.
Very good.
This is a Nazi, I can translate it to you, Goebbels recept, which means how Goebbels, he says, was Schmalz und Butter fehlt beim Essen? Ihr kennt ja Juden fressen. אני אגיד את זה בעברית, בסדר? באותם הימים, לפני המלחמה, זה לא כמו היום, השמן, ובמיוחד השמן של בעלי חיים היה דבר יקר. היום אנשים מחפשים איך להוריד משקל, אבל אז הייתה תקופה קשה.
Fat and oils on the food, it was very expensive and people wanted it very much.
אז זה, אתה לא תמצא את זה באינטרנט. יש לי ספר, אני אראה לך אולי פעם. אז חסר לכם שמן? אתם יכולים לאכול את היהודים שלכם.
You can have the fats from the Jews. It is terrible, terrible, terrible. Wow. Sure.
כאילו מורחים את השמן הזה על פרוסת לחם. הרי באותם השנים היה משבר כלכלי בגרמניה, אז הנה לכם, זה מה שגבלס מציע, תעשו ככה.
It's unbelievable.
וזה יהודי כמובן, כן?
Yeah.
וזה דנציג, אחרי ליל בדולח, Kristallnacht.
Your English is very good. Moshe, this is after Kristallnacht. Yeah, this is after Kristallnacht. Wow.
Kristallnacht. These are the shops. זגוגיות חנות מנופצות לאחר ליל הבדולח. מאחור ניתן לראות גרפיטי של צלב קרס, צולם ב10 בנובמבר 1930.
Do you remember Kristallnacht?
Huh?
Do you remember Kristallnacht?
No, because we were already in Lodz.
You were already in Lodz.
Yeah, but this is... these pictures are from
Danzig.
afterwards. Kristallnacht התרחש.
It was in Germany and Austria. In Germany and Austria.
Yeah, but to Danzig it arrived months later. So this is from November, but Kristallnacht was in November, in October, in all Germany, in Berlin and Munich and Frankfurt and everywhere, but to Danzig it arrived months later. Kristallnacht. Regensburg. Jude, you can see here, destroyed all the shops. This is the crane which I showed you before. This is the crane, and here I played.
On that street. And you remember,
Huh?
you remember playing on the street. You remember?
Yeah, no, we were already in Lodz.
I know, but you, before you went.
I remember how I played here, yes. And then I came after in 2008 and I visited all these places, but the Polish reconstructed because Danzig was almost destroyed by fire in the war. The Red Army occupied Danzig. It was the north of former Germany. And this is Jiddische Gemeindeblatt. And here some days before, 17 December of 1939,
or 38, I think it's 1938.
The heads of the Jewish community called the Jews together in the synagogue. This is the synagogue, the famous, which I showed you before.
Yeah. 38.
How to escape, and it was meant to discuss how to escape from Danzig. The urgency you could read here in German. I can translate it to
Okay.
you later. This gathering will be insured by the police. But who were the police?
Yeah.
Polizeichen Schutz. And these are the two beautiful girls, daughters of Rivka, which were murdered in the Holocaust. And my mother didn't excuse herself to the end of her life that she didn't save those two beautiful girls. She was aged 17 and she 18. We were...
But it's a pity that your mother's sister didn't join. It's a pity that she didn't come with. When your mother suggested that she should join, it's a pity that she decided to remain behind.
Yeah, she remained behind. My aunt was not convinced by my mother to leave. And this is Yimach Shmo. And when I was at Vishnova Gora, I already heard the barking of that Hitler. This is how Poland was invaded. You see, from the west, the Nazi army, from Prussia and the Third Reich. This is Slovakia, Czechia, and at the same time, or some days later, the Red Army occupied the rest of Poland from the east. You can see here the arrows.
That was the Ribbentrop-Molotov, the agreement with Ribbentrop and Molotov.
Ribbentrop and Molotov agreement.
Yeah.
Right. And in 8 September 1939, Lodz was occupied. This is משהו סמלי, זה לא... משהו סמלי, איך זה נראה בזמן הכיבוש של לודז'. The Jewish patch, Judah, children with the Jewish patch.
But do you remember having an armband?
I had an armband, yes. Jews were hanged at the Danzig marketplace. And this is Warsaw after it was bombed by the Germans. Only part of it, of course. And this is our Tovarish Stalin, who didn't admit the Jews. Maybe 500,000 could be saved, but only 200,000 managed to enter the Soviet Union. יהודון מטונף חזרה. פרשיבי Żyd nazad, which means lousy Jew go back. And this is what the soldier told my mother, go, lechi, idi. And this is approximately how the trains and people looked like at that time. Bialystok. It was at the beginning of war. And this is Siberia. גם כן צילום סמלי, משהו סמלי.
Moshe, were you very hungry when you were in Siberia?
What?
Were you very hungry? Did you have
hunger, not only hunger.
And cold.
Cold and all those insects which bite you at night.
Mosquitoes and
פשפשים וקינים.
lice.
זה בפעם אחרת. And this is me in Siberia.
The only picture you have?
Yeah, the only picture.
And they're all Jewish children?
These are Jewish children, yeah. Grown-ups as well, yeah. This is already in 1944. This is my step brother Ephraim. And this is my friend Domp, which I met in Stettin, and he showed us the Bible and said, Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael, he said. And suddenly I knew that we have a country somewhere which we have finally to go. My mother and Simcha, my stepfather, Simcha.
And he was good to you? He treated you well?
What?
He was kind and he was good to you? Simcha was good to you? He was kind to you?
This is already after the war.
But when they got married, he was good? He was
a good person, yeah. Yeah, we were, my mother and him loved each other very, very much. and he was kind to me, but of course it was not my biological father, but nevertheless he was a kind person. From Piotrkov.
From Petrikov?
Piotrkov is...
Rabbi Lau came from Petrikov.
Harav Lau was from Piotrkov as well, yeah. He was born in... But he lived in Lodz at the time before the war as a bachelor, and then he married to woman by name of Chava, and she died in Siberia. This is how he managed to find my mother, my dear mother, and we are married. Doesn't need any explanation. And this too doesn't need any explanation. And these were the wagons, the train, approximately, which we went to Siberia and back. This is the picture you already photographed. This is me, and I was about 16 years old. And this is Kinus Noar Dror in that camp. All of us.
Is this
Sniff Dror.
Is this in the camp in the DP camp?
In DP camp, yeah.
So this was in Germany.
Yeah. Here am I. You can see the arrow I'm showing you. With my friends after the war. אני 60 מימין בשורה 2 מלמעלה. Dror was a youth organization belonging to Mapam. And here in Yiddish, nieder mit dem weißen Buch. Hala im Sefer HaLavan. Sefer HaLavan the white book which was issued by the British government, not allowing Jews to enter Israel.
The white paper.
White paper.
Which prevented immigration.
Yeah. But you can see already...
You have the flag.
Also in that DP camp. Here am I. I'm showing you with the arrow.
Yeah.
This is my friend Raif, I met him in Israel, in Kiryat Motzkin. This is Abraham, and this is my step brother Tzvi. This is how the immigrants looked like when they saw the Haifa port.
And you cried. When you saw the port, you cried.
We cried, yeah. But our ship was a little ship. שהייתה מונעת על ידי מפרשים מצד אחד, וכשלא הייתה רוח על ידי מנוע. This is a big ship probably. This is my dear mother, which died.
It's in 8th of November.
No, aged 74.
79.
Yeah, but aged...
And she was 74.
When she was 74, yeah.
She was young. 74 is young.
Yeah. Suffered a lot.
An amazing woman.
And here I'm showing what were her hobbies. She liked very much films, and this is a Polish actress, film actress. Her name is Pola Negri. She was in love with actresses and actors. And here you can see Clark Gable. Yeah. Clark Gable, which is famous of the film Gone by the Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are my dear boys, 3 sons, Boaz, Yoav, and Shai. Shai by the name of, on the name of my father. Very skilled boys, very skilled boys. And this is a part of our family. She is the wife of Yoav, and she is a postdoctor,
Wow.
giving lectures, professor in Haifa University.
In what department?
What?
In what department?
In what department? Biology. She was teaching biology. She is teaching biology, yeah. And these are my dear grandchildren. This is Yael, she is in the army now, and this is Lee, also in the army now, and this is my grandchild Ron, who was freed from the army already. חלק מהמשפחה.
It's part of the family.
This is my youngest grandchild, Yaron. ומאז אני גאה שאני יהודי.
Oh, that is so amazing. You're very proud to be a Jew.
What?
You're very proud to be a Jew and an Israeli. Yeah.
מה אני עושה עכשיו? אלה קומפוסטרים שאני הקמתי כאן בחצר. אני תורם מהידע שלי ומהרצון שלי. הקומפוסטרים זה דבר נפלא, מפני שזה חוסך הרבה מאוד מהשאריות של ירקות ופירות, במקום שזה ילך למטמנה. מטמנה זה ארץ ישראל שלנו קטנה.
It's a small country.
חבל.
It's a very, you're right. It's a...
אז אני משתדל, והמועצה אפילו לא יודעת שאני עושה את זה.
They don't know that you do it.
חוץ מזה, אני מומחה לסודוקו.
Very nice.
כן, אני אפילו, יש לנו מועדון כאן 50 מטרים מאיתנו,
And you do it.
ואני הנחיתי קבוצות.
Wonderful.
2 של מתחילים, ואחת עם מתקדמים, advanced group, with laptops and of course my pupils had to know English because all the literature about the Sudoku techniques are in English. Yeah, this is my hobby already. כמה זה? משנת 2005, 18 years. I'm dealing with the Sudoku. People don't know what Sudoku is. They think that Sudoku is something which you mount the train from Pardes Chana and go down in Savidor Merkaz, Tel Aviv. But it's something different, totally different.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. These are my pupils. You can see here.
And how many years were you
one of the groups.
How many years were you in Tel Aviv University in the linguistics?
What?
How many years were you in Tel Aviv University with linguistics?
4 years I was studying, linguistics. I could finish in 3 years, but I was already married and my sons were already born, and besides I was working as technical library manager in Ta'asiyah Avirit, Israel Aircraft Industries. So I was limited with hours. This is how I had to accomplish my studies in 4 years instead of 3. Now, this is my computer here.
It's wonderful.
The other one.
Wow.
The other one. And this is how I showed the display of how to how to solve Sudoku problems.
Incredible.
Yeah. And this is my next hobby, photography.
Your mother loved
I studied photography as well.
And your mother was a keen also
yeah. But she didn't accomplish her dream. And I, of course, managed. This is one of my pictures, of course. I have thousands of them. And this is Szczechocinek when I visited Poland. Szczechocinek is the birthplace where my mother was born. It was photographed in, this picture was taken by me in 2008. Szczechocinek. And I came to Szczechocinek and a person, a man, looked with a face like a Jew, was walking with two women before, and I met him and I asked him, what is the place where the Jews lived before the war in Szczechocinek? And he said, everywhere. Most of our town was populated by Jews. And so when he said everywhere, I photographed, I took this picture, probably a Jewish home before the war. Now of course abandoned. And this place, I told my driver, the Polish driver, take me to the cemetery of Alexander Kujawski, the birthplace where my father was born. And he took me to this field, and he said he had ways. He had ways in his car, and he said, "This is the cemetery before the war, the Jewish cemetery." And I asked him, "Where are the tombstones?" And he said, "Probably they built from the headstones their ways or homes." And while I was looking at this and taking this picture, a couple went out from a house nearby, a woman and a man, and the women especially was such an anti-Semite after the war, because they are afraid that Jews will demand the monies, the worth of the
to reclaim the homes,
property of the Jewish property. So she cursed me, and her husband was holding her back. This is my story after the war. So, and this is a little synagogue in Danzig now. I met there, before I went to Poland, I looked in the internet whomever I can meet there and discuss and ask questions, and I found a little community. Instead of 12,000 Jews which lived in Danzig before the war, I met a community of about 100. I made an acquaintance with one woman by the name Kasia, a Jewish woman, of course, and she told me all about this place. Here you can see, you see here in Hebrew, Shomer Israel, Shmor She'erit Israel, Va'al Yovad Yisrael, Shema Yisrael. It's in a sort of a caravan barrack. Before I found this place in Danzig, it's in Danzig. I went inside a shop and there was a Polish woman, and she was quite angry and distressed that I'm asking her, but she went with me to this place and said to several people which were present there, and said in Polish, of course, you should know that someone is searching for you, with an angry anti-Semite face.
Moshe, you understand Polish?
Yeah, I understand, but I'm not unable to speak. This is a Jewish cemetery in Danzig. Beit Kvarot. I'll tell you another story. And these are tombstones which were buried and destroyed by the Polish, by the Germans. Pinat in Hebrew. Yikarat Nashim, Alei Adama, Isha Ubna. So, yeah, I want to tell you what happened here, not here, but in connection with this cemetery. My father is probably buried here, but of course I don't know where. I discussed with Kasia and asked her, could you show me the place where the Jewish synagogue is in Danzig? And she said, of course, I will meet you tomorrow. And we agreed upon a place in Danzig where we shall meet. And I'm looking on the watch and she's not coming. So I went by myself and discovered the place by myself. You know already what I told you before. But when I returned to my hotel, serviceman gave me a letter from her, from Kasia, and she wrote to me, sorry I couldn't meet you because the shigutzim, Polish shigutzim, you know what shigutzim is. Shigutzim is hooligans tried to enter the Jewish cemetery after the war. And she was busy with that case. So,
you know, Moshe, can I mention in Lodz, after the war, there was a group of, they were actually Bnei Akiva, they came back to Lodz after the war and they were killed. And
not in Lodz.
After the war.
Kielce.
No, but also in Lodz. I was in the cemetery.
In Lodz as well?
In the cemetery, you go in Lodz, in the cemetery, in the front row, you'll see Kforim, I think there's 6, of Bnei Akiva teenagers that came back after the war and they were killed in Lodz. And you see the cemeteries.
I didn't know about it.
I was there and we saw it.
How many?
I think there were 6.
Huh?
6.
In Kielce?
Kielce was terrible.
Kielce, after the war, was a big pogrom. And people which managed to escape the Holocaust, the ovens, were about 40 or maybe more were killed by the Poles. מה המסר שלנו? What is our message? Never again. But it's not enough to say never again.
But you know, Moshe, what you are doing and Zichron B'Salon and doing this video, people will see it. And
these are pictures from Zichron B'Salon, which I gathered from there and here.
Whoever sees these videos or hears, you're not the same afterwards, and it leaves an indelible impression on a person. And we must spread the message. We can only through speaking and showing can we overcome.
It's very important because young people don't know the value of our own country. They don't know. So whenever I was allowed to speak, I gave already Zikaron B'Salon 3, 2 in Pardes Chana and 1 in Benyamina. And whenever I speak about it, I'm trying to stress this. Never again, but it's not enough to say never again. You have something to do. Not to leave this country, because you don't know. The world didn't change. Jews are hated everywhere because we killed Jesus. It doesn't matter that Jesus was a Jew by himself.
It doesn't matter that the Romans were the ones that...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But everyone knows if he has a head and he thinks logically, he was killed by the Romans. על ידי מי הוא נצלב? מי צלב אותו? הרומנים. This is a picture, נשים וילדים יהודים מברקסס ובילקה שבהונגריה ברציב הרכבת באושוויץ מאי 1944.
It's 1944, near the end of the war.
Huh?
It was near the end of the war, in 44.
No, before they were sent to the ovens. Children.
And Moshe, you know what's so sad? The Germans knew they were losing near the end of the war, but they put all the effort, all the trains, in order to kill Jews and not to even save their own cities and save themselves. It's hard to believe. It's hard to comprehend.
The extermination camps were working to the last moment, and when they escaped, they took with them Jews to the march, to the death march, you know.
But Moshe, you know what's so sad as well? Why did the Allies not bomb the railroads? Why did they not bomb the camps? That's a very, very difficult question.
It's a long story. I know about it. I can tell you, but it's not the occasion now. Budapest. Inside the extermination camp, because towards the end of the war, the Nazis hadn't manpower, and this is how they kept Jewish women in those concentration camps. In English, dead bodies lay for days in the streets of the ghetto before being collected by Jewish volunteers and carried off to one of the countless mass graves. And this is
the Cyclone B. This is the gas.
Poison.
The poison, Cyclone B.
Cyclone B. Cyclone B?
Yeah.
Cyclone B. Gift gas. Gift is in English poison.
Poison, yeah.
It's not a gift. And these are Jews doing their own graves. And here the Nazis standing.
Watching.
It's a sort of a sort of show.
It's a show, yeah.
Yeah. This is a Warsaw ghetto, a famous picture. Set fire to the Warsaw ghetto after the...
You know, Moshe, there's a very interesting... It took the Germans more time to destroy the Warsaw ghetto than to conquer the whole of Poland.
Yeah. But it's a sad story. We of course think that Warsaw rising was something, but according to statistics, only 16 German soldiers were killed by Jews, but
it took them a long time.
It doesn't matter the number.
Yeah. And it took them a long time to quell the uprising. More time than to conquer the whole of Poland.
If they didn't set fire to the ghetto, it was probably much prolonged. Look, Jewish children, led by the German animals. And this is, I took this from books which I own. After the war, Eisenhower, not Eisenhower, some general, maybe Eisenhower, I don't know, gave a command to his soldiers to gather some Germans and make them a tour through the concentration camp, extermination camp, and see for themselves. See a German woman, because it was not only sight, it was a stench. And this is what you already photographed.
So thank God. This picture, those two pictures encapsulate everything. Moshe, those two pictures encapsulates everything.
Yeah, they say, and they summarize all the
and you know, Moshe,
subject.
Something, I'm just going to go and I'll tell you here. I'll say you see, Moshe.
Do you want to photograph it again?
Yeah, it encapsulates. A survivor once told me, Moshe, and it's so true, I'll just put this in. He said, if only we had our country 10 years before, my family would have survived. So what you are doing and what you are saying, it's incredible. Moshe, you should just continue in good health, and what you're doing is it's so important.
What?
What you do and what you achieve and what you relate, you must keep on, because it's so important, Moshe.
Yeah, I'm gifted to... אני מודה באשמה. מודה באשמה, אתה יודע מה? מה זה?
What is you thankful with?
אני לא צנוע בעניין זה, אני אומר, אני יודע לעשות דברים.
Well, you're very...
תראה, אני מצאתי באינטרנט גם כן רעיונות עם נשים וגברים שעברו את השואה.
באנגלית.
אבל אני עושה את זה אחרת.
You did very differently, yeah.
אני עושה את זה אחרת, בליווי צילומים.
Well, it's very powerful and it's so important. And Moshe, I just want to thank you so much. And I want to wish you a good year and just to be well and to have blessings from your family. Toda rabba in kol halev. Thank you so much. Thank you so from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
שמחתי מאוד שבאת מירושלים, עיר הקודש.
It's the greatest pleasure. Thank you, Moshe.
לפרדס חנה.
Toda rabba.